Graph the function shown on your own paper, then choose the correct graph. Y equals -2 divided by x squared minus 1. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to figure out the asymptotes, so we set the denominator equal to 0. And this will provide the vertical asymptote, so x squared minus 1 equals 0. And I like to solve this one by factoring, that way you make sure you get both of the answers. So if you do the square root, sometimes you forget the plus or minus, and that's not good. So x equals -1 and x equals +1. There are two vertical asymptotes this time, because there are two values that make the function undefined. So let me draw the first one. X equals -1. Then x equals +1. And for the horizontal asymptote, what we do is we compare the degrees here. This is like -2x to the 0 power. The degree of the denominator is greater this time, and so what that means is the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0, which is the x-axis. That means when the function inputs get really, really large or really, really negative, the output will approach 0. Okay, next thing is a t-chart. And I'm going to choose, let's see, for x values -3, -2, 0, then 2, and then 3. So let's see, input a -3, and then for y, it's going to be -2 divided by -3 squared minus 1. So it's going to be -2 divided by -3 squared is 9, minus 1 is 8. So -2/8, which is -1/4. Here, let me switch colors. So -3, -1/4, so right there, roughly. Input a -2. It's going to be -2 over -2 squared minus 1. So it's going to be -2 divided by 4 minus 1, or 3, so -2 over 3, -2/3. So -2, -2/3. Then input is 0, it would be -2 over -1, which is 2, so it'll be 0, 2. And then input a 2. Well, you know, we already can reflect this in a way. See, the thing is it's -2 over x squared minus 1. This x value squared is the only input. So that means the negative and positives will have symmetry. So we already know that 2 is -2/3 and 3 is -1/4. And if you aren't sure about that, you can always just work it out. Let me go ahead and plot these. 2 -2/3 and then 3 -1/4. About right there. So we'll go like this and like this here. And this one will go kind of like that, and like that. So these curves on the sides are easy, these two branches. Now what happens in the middle? We have one point. And so the possible options are, it could come from down below and then up through, go from up above and down below, or it could do a U-turn. Now there's a step here that I didn't do earlier, but we can go ahead and talk about it now. We need to find any X-intercepts. So what you do is you set the numerator equal to 0 and solve. So -2 equals 0. Well, there are no solutions, it means there are no x-intercepts. So this graph in the middle here does not cross the x-axis. So that means it can't come from down below, because if it did, it would have to cross the x-axis and you would have zeros. So this means that it comes down and then has to do a U-turn, because if it kept going, you'd get an x-intercept. So the middle part will look something like this. Okay, now there's your graph.